everyone, it's Corin, and you're watching EnKoreMakeup. Blend, blend, blend.
Hi, Corin, stop using my lipstick.
Corin, I'm delighted to have you here today at the headquarters of the Ben Nye Company in Los Angeles.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. We've talked about this visit for quite a while. And
here we are.
And here we are on a beautiful day, in the last day of February. The wall is just some of the pictures from my father's career.
Oh, wow.
Which began in the late 30s. He was an apprentice at Fox Studios and studied primarily with the assistant director, makeup director, Monty Westmore Sr. Once he finished his apprenticeship in 37, he worked freelance. Soon after, Monty switched from Fox, went over to Selznick, and they were getting ready to make a movie about the Civil War. No one really knew how influential or important the film would be, but it, like all movies back then, was shot pretty quickly. And my dad was second in command to Monty, and he did Olivia de Havilland and Leslie Howard, and he also made up Janet Leigh's nanny, and actually it was with that experience he realized that there was a need for makeup for black performers. So the film turned out to be one of the most important films ever made, and so he worked day and night running the crews, and even when Ms. Lee was on set, then he was standing by her too. But the training he got as an apprentice and from Monty really paid off in this film.
So Dana, where are we now? Where'd you take me here?
We're in our new laboratory here. We've been in this facility for just over 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And we built a new lab, and Veronica joined us
Hi, Veronica!
just about a year ago, and she comes to us with a lot of experience, many years experience working the bench, as they say, in the laboratory. So she and I have been working, well, for 12 months now on a number of new products, and we have 23 new eyeshadows and rouges, new Mojave series for olive and brown complexions, and
that's probably one of my favorites.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
And we are just about ready to launch our new high-def series in cream and pressed powder. It's called Media Pro, and we've been working through the texture and colors, so we're excited about this, and later on I can show you what the packaging is going to look like.
Awesome! I can't wait.
The colors that we use are here in this box, and as we go through a color and design it, we're reaching into our little souffle cups of color, and then on the formula, then we'll press out the colors, and as we make our sample batches, we'll keep referring to it to see do we have too much of the ochre, or do we need to have more umber, or do we have too much green? And so we're currently in the process of working on a color that's called OL1.
Oh, wow.
It's a popular series.
The OLs are these foundation concealers?
Yeah, so it's a foundation tone. It's been in the industry for a long time, 1 through 4. Color consistency is so critical to any cosmetic manufacturer, and to us. Color adjustments take hours, and there's no quick way to bring a color back to true. We can't rely on a computer. It's just too complicated based upon the color bases that we use. But it works out pretty satisfactorily, and pretty much we check everything on the skin. My assistant Elizabeth has beautiful fair skin, and we use her arm a lot, at least definitely on these flesh tones, because there's so many, the nuances, there's just so many subtle varieties, variations in the color. So we've been working on a new dark chocolate Mojave powder, and this is the test batch, I guess. We're actually going to call it dark cocoa. We have a lighter version called the chocolate, and then a standard for us has been the ebony in our theatrical series, and it's our most widely used tone for dark complexions. But we're looking for an improvement to work into the new Mojave series. This is the ebony as it currently exists, and so the dark cocoa would not be a replacement, but it would be a new tone to add to the Mojave series. It would make our 7th color. This is our cream department, and as you soon will see, we hand pour all of our cream products. It gives us a lot of flexibility in how we set up a day's work, and of course we have numerous wheels, 4 and 6-chambered pallets that, well, I don't know how to do it any other way, and this is how my father did it some 50 years ago.
After all the cream products are mixed and formulated, they get melted in this room, and then they are hand poured to the packaging. Now these are the white liners that's going into the student kits for theatrical students, and then they get boxed up in batches. As you can see in here, they are individually hand poured, and they are not filled by weight. They're actually filled by volume, so they just go by the top level of each packaging, and once it's full, they pretty much stop. Now the key to pouring these emollient products is to make sure that they keep warm and that they are not too hot nor too cold, because if it's too cold, it's going to clog the spout.
One of the significant improvements that we've made in manufacturing in the last year is, though I've got nothing here to show you today, maybe when we come back the next time, we'll run some product through a 3-roll mill. This micro pulverizes the product, and so we're using the roller mill now for the new Media Pro series, matte foundation, concealers, and rouges. Our newest mill is over here. We haven't used it today, I don't think, but it just allows us to put more product through it more efficiently, and since we're relying on this step now to improve our quality, we invested in a new device. And in this section we have our liquids department, and so we make all of our cleansers here, and over in the back our assistant manager is filling not a liquid product, but a dry glitter, and in the foreground here it's corn syrup, and this becomes the basis for our stage blood and new dark stage blood. So we make about 20,000 gallons a year of the blood. It's something that is useful in the industry. Over in the other table here, we're filling Final Seal, which is our alcohol-based sealer.
That's one of my favorites.
Well, I'm glad,
sealer. I have that in my kit.
So they've already just finished. Well, they finished the 2-ounce spray version, and we're filling the larger size over on the other table.
And right in the corner, sparkly things caught my attention, and these are purple MD5 microfine glitters, and Chooks is actually pouring them by hand pouring them, so they are not technically by weight, they're by volume once again, and he just fills them up all the way to the top, and then the lids go on, and then they get packaged. Now the microfine glitters are multi-purpose, and you can definitely use them to mix with liquid or any mixing mediums.
The next work area is where we actually are pressing, either pressing or filling our powders. Morning!
In the powder room, I caught up with Tita, who is actually pressing some eyeshadows, and these are the bright reds that goes into the Lumiere set. And basically, the empty tin pans are conveyored in on a belt, and it goes into the main pressing unit. Now, the pressing unit rotates, so it rotates the empty pans, and the first thing that it does is that it pours the pigments in. And then there is a presser that also has the Ben Nye logo stamp. And the roll that you see, the kind of fabric-looking roll, is actually the hatch mark, and it's got the pattern that presses right into the powder. And then it gets pushed in out into the spout, and then Tita actually brushes off the excess powder, so that way it looks nice and clean. And then all the finished pressed powders goes into a box, and then they're ready for the outer packaging.
This is the pancake machine, and we could fill the smaller product on this one as well, but we have about 54 of what we call color cakes, or in the industry, pancake. It's a water-activated base, and so this is white, and white is probably our biggest seller, and when we take delivery on our new machine, it will alternate between the large sizes and the small eyeshadows. When the product comes out of our pressing department, it's pressed into a pan or a bidet, and as we need it, we'll package it.
In the powder finishing department, they get into palettes if they're going to be in palette sets, or they also can go into hinge pots, which you can see in the background right there. Now, Ben Nye only make these as needed.
So, everything you see back here is either product that's finished but not put in the container, or labels. And John, hold up those refills you've got there. So that refill is what? Cosmic Violet. Lumiere. Right. So.
Next is the batching department, and this is where the stickers get applied onto the container so that they can determine which batch the products belong to, as they make them in batches.
This is a test batch for our new Media Pro pressed powder. It's a beautiful silky texture. It's new for us. We've had very good response from our artists that we've showed it to. And there's 10 colors in the Media Pro compact powder. We'll see this product in the marketplace beginning middle April. So we'll have 38 cream bases. It will be our Media Pro Sheer Foundation, and then in the compact powders we currently have 10 colors. And one of the tones is pretty interesting. Is our clear. We had a clear pressed powder in a prior line, but this new formula has been improved to be nearly transparent, nearly all transparent. So it should be helpful to have a totally clear pressed powder. So out here we've got, we try and make 2 to 3 years of pigment at a time. So as you look down the rows, we've got foundations and eyeshadows and everything that we make. We have a certain quantity of the pigment sitting here for the next manufacturing. We met Fernie back when we were in the lab a few minutes ago, and he's making a new color, or today's the first batch of the day. So the same palette of shades that we saw in the lab we have here, and so the departments can share. The oxides that you see over here are generally used by in our cream colors, and then Fernie actually is working for the powder department. And so these brighter tones are oftentimes used in our eyeshadows and rouges, Lumiere. But the formulas are not restricted at all between powder and cream department. We just did a new Mojave dark cocoa powder. So we made a 15 kilo batch. It was weighed out here, and then we'll go to the next department, which is where we do our blending and micropulverizing.
Awesome.
Every powder that we make into a blended color ends up coming here, and then once they make it, then it goes back in the lab and we check it to make sure that it's okay, that it looks right.
Once all the powders are formulated and mixed right in the lab, they get weighed and ratioed out, and it goes into this homogenizer, and it spins so that it mixes and breaks down the colorants, and then it gets finely milled right into this machine.
So our larger batches or pancake batches will go through here. These are do the same job that the smaller mixer does. It just gives us more volume. So as you shoot down here, here's a batch of. I'm assuming it's a batch of color cake. Every flesh tone that we make has green in it, and my father, Ben Nye Sr., designed green into every formula, because we all have a certain amount of a green tone, even if it's a very finite amount. So anyway, there it is. But once it's blended, that green will blend into the base. And you probably won't even see it. Yeah. Brett's making a tester.
The shipping and fulfillment department basically do the final packaging and shipping of all the orders. Now these orders are ready to ship out to movie sets, backstages, theater performances, stage performances, students, schools for their student kits, as well as distributors and vendors.
So every order is different. We don't require our dealers to order a certain amount. They buy what they want, and we fill the order as per their instructions. So that blood that when we saw the corn syrup sitting back in the corn syrup containers, becomes ultimately this pint or smaller.
Oh, wow.
Morning, Ruben. So it's a very busy place, Corin. I am so happy that you got to visit us today. Just are going back home after working and demonstrating at the powder show here in LA, which turned out to be quite a remarkable turnout. I came for a couple hours Saturday afternoon, and I saw a lot of old friends, and the show was really well attended. So it's looks like it's got a long life here in Los Angeles.
It's going to be awesome. Thanks for having me.
You're sure welcome.